Deadpool and Wolverine. Released July 26, 2024. Directed by Sean Levy. Written by Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, and Paul Wernick. Starring Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Emma Corrin. Rotten Tomatoes score, 79%. Metacritic, 56. IMDb, 8.3. Welcome back to Real Reviews. Like always, I am your host, Lee. Today we are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, the much-anticipated third entry in the Deadpool franchise and its first movie since Disney acquired Fox. This is a movie that unfortunately has to meet extremely high expectations. Let's talk about how it does. This movie isn't perfect, and I think to pretend it is would be a disservice. I don't think that it is an issue with Disney or Marvel being in control of the property. I think the main issue is what the movie tries to do, which is to wrap up all of Fox Universe movies and choose which characters can be available going forward. It doesn't really do this that well. It turns the movie into a who's who of 15 different movies and tons of nods to the comics. Let's get to the questions, though.
How does Deadpool and Wolverine explore the relationship between the two titular characters? What aspects of their personalities clash or complement each other?
This is set up like a classic buddy comedy, with Wolverine being the straight man. One good moment is that Deadpool acknowledges that Logan is a hero that people really loved. Honestly, I did kind of get bored with their dynamic around the time that the movie did. It just leans harder into the comedy, and it kind of breaks the immersion.
How does the film balance the comedic elements associated with Deadpool with the typically more serious tone of Wolverine's character? Is this balance effective in maintaining the integrity of both characters?
Very plainly put, it does not balance these at all, and that is one of the downfalls of the movie. It doesn't even attempt to bring balance to the different tones. This is caused by Deadpool being the titular character of the film and him being in control of most of the narrative.
Reflecting on Deadpool and Wolverine as a part of the broader Marvel Cinematic or comic book universe, what could be its potential impact on future narratives? Does it set up any significant developments for the characters or the overall storyline?
This movie is very direct about the fact that it is setting up for certain characters to be able to exist in the MCU. It doesn't do anything to move forward any characters that already existed, so much as put them in positions to where they can be called on later. And while it has tie-ins to the larger MCU, it is confined completely to the TVA, so it doesn't impact anything in the current MCU in a meaningful way.
How are action sequences choreographed to highlight the contrasting fighting styles of Deadpool and Wolverine?
This is one of the things that this movie does best. It does a fantastic job of showing how Logan's fighting is more savage and direct, whereas Deadpool is much more polished and goofy in his methods of approaching combat. This movie does so many things right. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious. Hugh Jackman is the rough and perpetually mad Wolverine. Most of the side characters aren't really on the screen long enough to judge them. Heck, many characters from prior movies barely have any lines, and some have none. Which actually leads to what I consider one of the weaknesses. This movie completely relies on nostalgia to make us care about most of the characters. The environments all look pretty dang good, which, considering how many they use, is pretty impressive. But at the same time, with a roughly $200 million budget, they could have spent more time on some of the computer animations because so many of them look unreasonably bad. This movie wasn't going to fail. They could have splurged just a bit more to clean these things up. The story works, but several jokes go on for so long that they stopped being funny for me and ended up leaning more towards being boring. Also, the story struggles from needing to get too much done and not having the time to do it great. Which honestly I am fine with, because I am really over the two-part finales that are obviously intentional cash grabs. But ultimately, the mountain of characters it tried to work with in this movie was basically insurmountable, and they probably could have been fine with cutting basically all of the non-X-Men related characters. Is this movie enjoyable? Well, yeah, it is a Deadpool movie, and it still has the comedy and fourth wall breaking, and Ryan Reynolds is still who he is. But this is by far the worst Deadpool movie. Its only claim to fame will be opening up the Fox universe to the MCU. I don't have a lot to say about this movie because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. It is a movie with several ups and downs. Overall, I gave it a 6 out of 8 or a 7.5 out of 10. The two factors that I actually dinged it on were the effects, and that at least twice in the movie I found myself bored and wishing they would move forward. If you are an MCU fan or a Deadpool fan, I do recommend watching. Like always, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. I try to have at least 2 videos out per week. Real reviews like this or AI reviews like the video coming out tomorrow. Until next time.